Hello everyone and welcome back. Today, we're diving into something absolutely incredible. We're going to learn one of humanity's most powerful and, honestly, most enduring skills. We are going to decode the ultimate tool of human exploration.
Picture this for a second. You're standing right in the middle of a massive, dense forest. You reach into your pocket, pull out your phone, and nothing. There is absolutely no GPS, no internet, no phone signal whatsoever. Your survival right in this very moment depends entirely on a folded piece of paper stuffed in the bottom of your backpack.
So be honest, would you actually know how to find your way home? Most of us, probably not, because having a map and actually knowing how to read it are two completely different things. But don't worry, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to completely understand the hidden visual language used by explorers, travelers, and geographers. You'll be able to confidently look at almost any map and instantly know what you're seeing. Stick with me till the end, because this is going to fundamentally change how you view the world around you.
Section 1. The Power of Maps. Since ancient times, maps have literally been our way of making sense of the real world. But here's the catch. To navigate successfully, you have to pick the right tool for the job. Maps generally come in a few core types. First, you've got political maps. These show artificial, human-made features, right? Things like country borders, state lines, and cities. Then you have physical maps, which completely strip away the politics to show you natural features like mountains, plains, and rivers. Think about it. If you're trying to survive out in the wilderness, a political map is completely useless to you. You need a physical map to actually understand the terrain you're standing on.
And then you've got thematic maps. Honestly, these are fascinating. They overlay very specific data right onto a map, showing us hidden layers of the world that we just can't see with our bare eyes. We're talking about things like tracking complex airplane routes, mapping out global ocean currents, or visualizing where human populations are most densely concentrated. It's like seeing the world through a completely different lens.
Section 2. Finding your direction. Okay, so the single most important question in any navigation situation is, which way do I even go? This brings us to a foolproof technique that explorers use, often called the hand swipe. It goes like this. First, you find north using a compass. Second, you physically turn the map in your hands so that the north on the paper perfectly points to the real north in the world. Now, whatever is in front of you matches the paper exactly. Finally, you just place your hand on the map, face your intended destination, and literally swipe your hand forward. It sounds incredibly simple, but trust me, physically orienting the paper map like this cures almost all spatial confusion.
But hey, what if you drop your compass, or it breaks? Well, you can actually use nature itself to find your direction. The sun is a great guide. It rises in the east and sets in the west. If you're in the northern hemisphere, moss on tree trunks usually grows on the more humid, shaded north side. And at night, the North Star remains totally fixed in the sky, pointing directly north. Let's do a quick mental practice right now. If you orient yourself so that a location is directly north of you, and you take a left, which direction are you traveling? You're heading west. Understanding these absolute directions is the absolute foundation of reading any map.
Section 3. The Secret of Scale.
All right, so you know which way you're facing, but you need to know exactly how far you have to go. Have you ever looked at a digital or paper map and thought, oh, it's just right there, quick walk, only to find out it takes forever to reach? Seriously, if a road looks only 2 centimeters long on the map, why does it take 30 whole minutes to drive there? This totally relatable scenario introduces us to the genius concept of taking a massive real-world space and shrinking it down onto a tiny piece of paper.
And this brings us right to the fraction scale. If you see a 1, a colon, and 50,000 on a map, don't panic, it's just a simple ratio. It literally means that one single unit on your map, let's say 1 centimeter, equals 50,000 of those exact same units in reality. So 1 centimeter on the paper is 50,000 centimeters, or 500 meters, out there in the real world.
So scale is quite literally the ratio that determines the real-life equivalent of a measured unit on a map. And here's a quick pro tip for you. A large-scale map actually zooms in to show a very small area with a ton of detail, kind of like your immediate neighborhood. A small-scale map, on the other hand, zooms way out to show a huge area with very little detail, like an entire country or continent. It's a bit counterintuitive, but super important to remember.
Section 4. The Hidden Language. Now, to keep maps from turning into a cluttered, unreadable mess of millions of tiny drawings, they rely on a secret code. I absolutely love this concept. A map is a visual language.
Symbols are the vocabulary, scale is the grammar. Just think about it. If the mapmaker actually had to draw every single hospital building, every towering mountain peak, and every dense pine forest exactly as they appear in real life, you wouldn't be able to read the map at all. It would just be a blob of ink. Instead, they use simple, elegant symbols and colors.
Color is usually the very first thing your brain processes. Blue? Yeah, that almost always means water. Oceans, lakes, winding rivers. Green represents vegetation, so you're looking at forests or low-lying plains. Brown is generally reserved for higher elevations, like mountains and rugged highlands. With just a quick glance at the colors, you immediately know if you're about to walk into a wet, muddy swamp or start a grueling, steep hike up a mountain.
Beyond just colors, maps use these really clever artificial and natural symbols. A red line is typically a major road or highway. Little black squares, those represent buildings. A capital H is universally understood as a hospital. A wavy blue line is a stream or river. But here is something absolutely crucial for your safety. You must always check the map's legend, that little key down in the corner, because symbols can actually change slightly depending on the specific mapmaker or what country you happen to be in.
Section 5. Reading the landscape.
So, how do we know if a path is going to drag us up a steep, exhausting hill or drop us down into a nice, flat valley? We figure that out using contour lines. These are imaginary, wavy lines drawn on the map that connect points of equal height. Because maps are basically a bird's-eye view looking straight down, the closer together these contour lines are drawn, the steeper the actual drop is on the ground. Tightly packed lines are literally warning you, hey, there's a dangerous cliff here. Widely spaced out lines, they're inviting you for a nice, easy, flat walk.
Once you can read that landscape, you can start using some pretty advanced explorer techniques. You don't just wander aimlessly. First, you use what's called a handrail. You find a long, distinct line on the map, maybe an old stone wall or a stream, and you literally follow alongside it. Next, you use collecting features. You build a mental checklist of things you should pass along your way, like, okay, I'll pass a ditch, then I'll see a small cabin. Finally, you use a catching feature. This is an obvious boundary, like a major road crossing your path, that immediately tells your brain, stop right there, you've walked way too far. By stacking these three techniques together, it's basically impossible to get genuinely lost.
Section 6. Mastering the map.
Let's put all of this together. Here are the absolute most common mistakes beginners make when they finally get out into the field. First up, ignoring the scale. Before you take a single step, use a ruler, or honestly, even a little twig you find on the ground, to measure the map distance, then calculate the real distance so you know what you're actually in for. Second, skipping the legend. Never just assume you know what a symbol means. Take 10 seconds to decode it first. And lastly, misorienting. Like we talked about earlier, correctly rotating that physical map to match true north is the instant cure for spatial confusion.
And, these aren't just cool survival tricks to show your friends. These exact techniques are the very foundation for how modern professionals operate every single day. Travelers use them when they go completely off the grid. Pilots and sailors rely on these spatial concepts to safely navigate across the entire globe. Search and rescue teams depend heavily on contour lines and coordinates to find lost hikers in wild, unforgiving terrain. Even scientists analyzing digital geographic data on supercomputers are basically just using highly advanced layered versions of these exact same paper map principles.
You see, a map is way more than just a drawing. It is a full-blown visual language. And once you truly understand the absolute directions, the fractions of scale, the vocabulary of the symbols, and the grammar of the legends, you unlock what is basically a superpower. You can literally look at a flat piece of paper and vividly decode incredibly precise information about places you have never, ever visited. You have mastered the landscape from afar.
So now whenever you look at a map, whether it's on your phone or on paper, you'll know exactly how to decode its hidden language. If you enjoyed this explainer, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out. And now that you've unlocked this foundational skill, what geography topic would you like us to explore next? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next documentary.